every single day I'm just a little more blown away by this community that we've created. You guys all show up to watch my videos. I'm getting tons of views and likes and comments, and everybody in the comments section, they agree and they disagree, but they do it respectfully. And it's just, I'm seriously, I'm blown away by all this. And it's a weird feeling to simultaneously feel like, you're working really hard and you're spending a lot of your time and energy and effort on this, and so you're getting exactly what you deserve. But also feel like, dude, you don't deserve this. Like, you don't deserve all this that's coming your way. And it's so weird to like feel both of those things at the same time. But here we are, and it's like I love this community that we're building. It's so awesome, and I feel like if I never get another subscriber, if it's just the 734 of us here talking about Ashes and doing it in a constructive way, and agreeing and disagreeing but doing it respectfully, I'm fine with that. And so just thank you guys so much for all the support and everything that you guys have been sending my way. It's been incredible. Today I want to talk a little bit about gearing in these games where they mix PvE and PvP. And there's some innate complications to it and some things that cause some problems, and I want to try to see what we can do to solve that problem. I will admit up front that this is going to be somewhat kind of like a rambling. I'm at the very edge of my understanding, or I'm stretching out my understanding as far as I possibly can. So I may not be able to be as on point as I like to be in these videos. We're going to just see what we can do. And I very much invite those of you in the comment section, if you have ideas for how to solve these problems, please, let's get them in here and let's talk about it. What you think about when you're born into a fire? So this point has been brought up several times in my comment section, and I'm going to try to reiterate it here and then talk about it a little bit. And I'm going to admit up front that I don't think I can give this point justice to the degree that a few of the people in my comment section can. These guys are super smart, and they've already thought about these ideas, and so they're able to put them into word really, really well. So I'm just going to do the best that I can here. And the idea is basically that in PvE and PvP games, the two different style of games, the reason why we chase gear is different. And because the reason why we chase gear is different, the way that we should go about acquiring gear and maybe even the value of gear should be different. And then, of course, that leads to a problem when you're talking about a game that is both PvE and PvP in the same space. When you're talking about a PvE game, the reason that we chase gear or we chase the upgrade is because there is an actual numerical upgrade to the gear. There's a gear score. And so, you want to go kill the boss or finish that mission or whatever it is, because the reward at the end is an actual numerical increase on your gear score. Okay. And then you should be able to feel that increase. That is a very key thing. No one is going to go chase an upgrade and so therefore stay in game and doing things and achieving and building communities and playing the game and all that if they can't even feel the upgrade. If the upgrade is so small, you can't even feel it. Whereas in PvP, if the upgrades are too much or too high, you create a situation where the outcome of PvP fights is based more on gear than on skill. And you would hope that it would be at least more skill than gear, if not a lot more skill than gear. Especially if it, in terms of, a lot of these games, you go do PvE to get gear and then take that gear into PvP. And it's like, so you got to be good at one in order to get the best gear for the other. And that's, kind of a strange situation. And so when you start talking about that in terms of making these games, it becomes hard to figure out how you're going to A, acquire gear, and B, what type of upgrades the gear is going to have. That is kind of the central thesis of the problem. And I'm sure that there's more to it than that. And like I said, I'm sure these other guys could explain it better than me, but that is kind of my best synopsis of it. so then I started thinking about what could we do to ameliorate this to some degree? How could we fix this the best that we can? And that got me to thinking about my own personal favorite, all-time favorite gearing system in any MMO, and that is the gearing system of Elder Scrolls Online. And I just love this gearing system. I'm not a big fan of the game. I play it in spurts. I never stick with it for really long periods of time, 2 months at a time or something like that. But that doesn't change the fact that I love the gearing in the game. And so here's what the gearing is. Elder Scrolls Online, we're just going to call it ESO from now on, has 100 set bonuses, 150 set bonuses. I don't even know. It's a lot of set bonuses. And there are a bunch of different ways that the set bonus affects your character. There's some that don't even really do much for combat. They just make your character move faster. And there are people who have builds of their characters, and you can go online and find them, that all it is finding every single way in which, with gear and champion points and everything, that you can make your character move fast so that you can move across the map and gather resources faster. That's the whole point of the character. That's it. That's all of it. And of course, then there's, more PvP based ones and more PvE based ones, and ones that are more like for dungeon bosses and that sort of thing. And then what makes it even cooler is that you can have, well, technically 3, but really 2 different set bonuses. There's room for 2 set bonuses, and then there's what they call the monster set, which is just a 2-piece set bonus. So it's a little different there, but there's room for 2 full set bonuses on every character. And so it's all about trying to find out ways to make your 2 set bonuses synergize with each other, and then synergize with the build of your character and the classes that the class that you use and what weapon type you're using and all that stuff. And there are a lot of similarities to this to Ashes of Creation, where we have, ESO has the weapon type, and there's a skill tree based on what weapon you use. And Ashes has the same thing. And then of course there's skill trees based on your class, and Ashes has the same thing. So there are some similarities to it there. But then I started thinking about, if we took this system, which would make it where people were chasing not a numerical upgrade, because in ESO, there's a maximum level. It's not the maximum level of the game. You can still go beyond this level and get champion points, which you can do very small alterations to your character with those points, but no gear is higher than that level. There's a base level for it. And so it makes it where you're not chasing numerical upgrades. You're just chasing different set bonuses and the way that they change your character. And it makes it where you want to have lots and lots of set bonuses to try lots of different things. Or if you see an idea, or they introduce a new set bonus, which they do all the time, and you think, oh, that would synergize with this. Well, if you already have that in your bank, you could go grab both of them together and, try them out and see what it's like. And that's a big part of the game. And the theory crafting community for ESO is amazing. Like there are so many YouTubers, and they come up with the craziest builds that do all kinds of wild things. Maybe they're not the best in-game rating, do the most DPS or can dominate the most in PvP, but they do really cool stuff. People put together solo builds for characters that can practically just live forever. Maybe they can't ever kill anything, but they can live forever. So yeah, that I think there's a lot of similarity there. And so then I started thinking about, how could I put some Ashes flavor on this system? And one of the big things that Ashes has that is like a core central tenet of everything they're doing is they want crafting to be powerful. They want crafting to really, really matter. And so then I started thinking, what if you didn't drop the piece, you didn't drop pants of blah 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 set bonus, you actually just dropped a token that could turn a piece of gear into that set bonus, or add that set bonus to an already existing piece of gear. And so then you would take your gear and your token to a crafter, and you would have him infuse it for you. And now he would get paid or get skill, one of the two. I don't know how all that would work, but that's how you would attach. That's how you would get the set bonus itself on the gear. And then that would create a situation where potentially you could have like a token that there are no crafters in your area of the right level, or who are part of a scientific node that is the right level, the right stage of development, to be able to attach that token to your gear. And so you have two choices. You can put that token in your bank and wait, or you heard a rumor about a crafter that can do that like across the whole world. And so now you and three, 4 or 5, whatever your guildies have to get together and make this trek across the whole world to get over, where there is potentially a crafter that can do this for you and put that piece on, and it would, create those adventures, those organic kind of out of nowhere adventures. I think that would be so cool. Now, of course, this system, while I think it's really cool and it has some inherent flaws, and I think the biggest inherent flaw is simply that it would add a layer or multiple layers of complexity onto what is already a hyper complex game. And there's already a lot of people that complain about the gap between the players, especially between like the players who just play to have fun versus the ones who are on YouTube, like getting the best builds and finding out how to do everything the best way. And this would just increase that gap, because there would definitely be people on YouTube who would dedicate their entire channels to coming up with the best builds. And I would definitely be one of them. And there would definitely be people who come to watch those videos, whether they be mine or someone else's, and that, increase that gap. So you could go with a much simpler system where everybody who's wearing a set of robes is wearing the exact set of robes. As long as it's the highest level of robes, they're all exactly the same. They have the same stats, the same bonuses, everything's the same. And that would level the playing field in terms of both how much you have to try to reach an in-game build, but also just PvP would be almost entirely skill-based, because everybody be wearing essentially the same gear. Or if you're playing somebody that's the same class as you, you'd be wearing roughly the same gear. Now that makes the game too simplistic in my eyes, but maybe that's the solution to fix the problem, so that that the PvP matches don't end up being too much decided on here. But guys, that's what I'm thinking. I'm kind of thinking an ESO style system where there's lots of set bonuses. You can have multiple set bonuses on a character, and everything that you do in terms of gear ends up being going through the crafting system, so that the crafters are always engaged, and there's never a time when the crafters are like, oh, well, I've geared everyone up, and so then nobody needs any gear. That's what I think. I would really like to know what you guys think. What do you think of my idea, and what are some of your ideas? Put them down in the comments below. Read through some other people's ideas. Let them know what you think of their ideas. Do it respectfully, as we always do in this channel. And I'm really interested to read that stuff. I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. Now, I have not been a person who has tried to mobilize my community up to this point. And in general, that's not something I really plan on doing very much. And if I do try to mobilize my community, it's going to be to lift up someone else. Like, for example, I gave Bardic a shout out yesterday, and I hope lots of you guys went and checked out his channel. He's an awesome creator. But today I actually do want to see if I can get all of us to go do something. They announced a few hours ago, and that Steven is going to be doing an AMA and Ask Me Anything on Reddit. And they've started taking questions, and there is an upvote system, and the questions that get the most upvotes are going to be the ones that get asked. And so I want to send all of us over there. I'm going to put a link in the description below to the AMA where they are. And let me bring this up here real quick. All right, guys. So here is the post where Steven is letting people know that they're going to be doing an AMA, and they have all the questions down here. And if you scroll down just a little bit, there's this person right here, Dranria, who asks, what's the difficult in-game PvE structure is going to be like in terms of rating and dungeon? I'm talking about something like mythic rating and high-level mythic plus rating and WoW. So what I would like to see is have everybody who watches this channel come in here and upvote this question right here, so that we can find out from Steven in kind of a situation where he's forced to answer what his vision of what this is going to look like, because all they've said so far is just, yeah, there's going to be a hard rating, and it's like, well, what exactly does that mean? So let's get in there, let's upvote this question right here, and let's see if we can get that one answered. All right, guys, so I hope all of you guys go and over there and upvote that one, so that we can get an answer to that question. What is coming up on the channel? Tomorrow, I am actually going to be putting out 2 videos. It's going to be kind of a bonus video, although I don't know how many of you are going to care. The first video, the one that's, my normal style video, is going to be about gatekeeping. I want to talk a little bit about this turn that I've seen thrown around a lot. In some cases, I think it has some value. In some cases, I think it's being used improperly. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, especially in the context of Ashes of Creation. My second video, I asked in the Q&A if anybody wanted to hear the story of how I became a progression raid leader, or a leader of a progression raid guild, without really knowing what the hell progression rating is, or barely know what rating is. And I'm gonna tell that story. I had a few people in the comments say they wanted to hear it. I had a few people message me personally on Discord and say they wanted to hear it. So I'm gonna tell it. Just admitting up front that it is almost purely a vanity video because I like telling the story. So you guys can check that one out if you want to. Make sure you subscribe to get those videos, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.